Think you know gospel? Guess again. We're exposing 20 gospel legends you never knew were family. Secrets, songs, and shocking ties right now. Get ready for shocking reveals and iconic songs that shaped a genre. Stick with us for the ultimate gospel family tree. Let's dive in. 1. Kim Burrell, the renowned gospel singer and pastor, is related to Karen Clark Sheard, a legendary figure in gospel music through marriage. Burrell's connection to the Clark family stems from her close friendship and professional collaborations with Karen Clark Sheard and the rest of the Clark sisters. Over the years, Burrell has often been seen as an honorary member of the family due to her deep ties to their musical and spiritual legacy. This relationship was further solidified when Burrell became the godmother of Karen's daughter, Kara Sheard, who is also a celebrated gospel artist. The bond between Kim Burrell and Karen Clark Sheard extends beyond music, as they share a mutual respect and admiration for each other's ministry and artistry. Burrell's powerful vocal style and innovative approach to gospel music have often drawn comparisons to the Clark sisters' influence on the genre. Their connection is a testament to the enduring relationships that form within the gospel community, where faith and music intertwine to create lasting familial bonds. Though not related by blood, Kim Burrell's relationship with Karen Clark Sheard is a significant part of her life and career. The two have collaborated on numerous projects, including performances and recordings, showcasing their shared passion for uplifting and inspiring audiences through gospel music. Their friendship has been a source of strength and encouragement for both women as they navigate the demands of ministry and the music industry. 2. Thomas A. Dorsey, often called the father of gospel music, revolutionized the genre by blending blues rhythms with sacred themes, creating a sound that resonated across generations. His niece, Lena McLin, inherited his musical genius and became a formidable force in her own right. As a composer, educator, and choir director, she built upon Dorsey's foundation, shaping the next wave of gospel and classical music in Chicago. Their family bond was more than blood. It was a shared devotion to music's power to uplift and transform. Dorsey's influence was monumental, with timeless compositions like Take My Hand, Precious Lord becoming anthems of the civil rights movement. His work laid the groundwork for modern gospel, inspiring countless artists. Meanwhile, Lena McLin carved her own path, blending gospel with classical and jazz influences, proving that innovation could honor tradition. She mentored future legends, including a young Aretha Franklin, ensuring that Dorsey's musical legacy continued to evolve through new voices. While Dorsey's name became synonymous with gospel's golden age, McLin's impact was felt deeply in Chicago's churches and schools. She directed choirs, composed symphonies, and nurtured young talent, passing on the same passion her uncle had instilled in her. Her work bridged sacred and secular music, showing how gospel's roots could branch into new artistic expressions. Though less widely known than Dorsey, her contributions were no less significant in keeping the spirit of gospel alive. 3. Aretha Franklin, the undisputed Queen of Soul, and her sister Irma Franklin shared a musical upbringing that shaped their extraordinary careers. Growing up in their father's church, Detroit's New Bethel Baptist, under the guidance of Reverend C.L. Franklin, both sisters were steeped in gospel music from an early age. Aretha's powerhouse voice would eventually conquer the world, but Irma's soulful talent was equally undeniable. Though their paths diverged, their shared roots in the church remained the foundation of their artistry. Aretha's rise to superstardom often eclipsed her sister's career, but Irma Franklin was a gifted singer in her own right. While Aretha became a global icon, Irma carved out a respected place in soul and R&B, scoring a hit with her fiery rendition of Piece of My Heart, a song later popularized by Janis Joplin. Yet despite her success in secular music, Irma never strayed far from her gospel beginnings. Her voice carried the same emotional depth and spiritual resonance that defined the Franklin family's musical legacy. The bond between Aretha and Irma went beyond sisterhood. It was a shared musical language rooted in faith and resilience. Aretha often credited her gospel background as the source of her soul-stirring vocal power, and Irma's style reflected the same church-trained intensity. Even as Aretha soared to unprecedented heights, she never forgot the influence of her family in the Detroit church where she and Irma first found their voices. Their connection remained strong, both personally and artistically, throughout their lives. Though Aretha's name became synonymous with greatness, Irma Franklin's contributions to music deserve recognition. Her soulful interpretations and gospel foundation were integral to the Franklin family's enduring impact on American music. Together, they embodied the seamless blend of sacred and secular, proving that the roots of soul music ran deep in the church. Their legacy is a testament to the power of family, faith, and the unbreakable bond of sisterhood in shaping the sound of a generation. 4. Aretha Franklin, the legendary Queen of Soul, and her younger sister Carolyn Franklin shared not only a family bond, but also a deep musical connection rooted in their father's Detroit church. Growing up under the influence of Reverend C.L. Franklin, both sisters honed their voices in the choir of New Bethel Baptist, where gospel music shaped their artistry. While Aretha's voice would eventually become a global phenomenon, Carolyn's contributions, both as a singer and a songwriter, played a vital role in shaping the sound of soul music. Their shared upbringing created an unbreakable artistic synergy that lasted throughout their careers. Though Carolyn Franklin never achieved the same level of fame as her sister, her talent was undeniable. A gifted vocalist in her own right, she also emerged as a skilled songwriter, penning classics like Ain't No Way for Aretha's groundbreaking Lady Soul album. The song, with its lush harmonies and emotional depth, showcased Carolyn's ability to blend gospel's fervor with soul's sophistication. Her work behind the scenes proved just as influential as her performances, helping to craft some of Aretha's most enduring recordings. The musical partnership between Aretha and Carolyn was built on mutual respect and a shared heritage. Carolyn often provided backing vocals for Aretha, their voices intertwining with the seamless harmony of siblings who had sung together since childhood. Even as Aretha ascended to superstardom, Carolyn remained a trusted collaborator, infusing her sister's music with the same church-bred passion that had defined their upbringing. Their collaborations were more than just performances. They were a continuation of a family tradition. 6. Shirley Caesar and Ann Caesar Price, sisters. Shirley Caesar, celebrated as the First Lady of Gospel, began her legendary career singing alongside her sister Ann in the family group the Caesar Singers. From their humble beginnings in Durham, North Carolina, the sisters' harmonies in church choirs laid the foundation for Shirley's future stardom. Ann's steady vocals and unwavering support provided the perfect counterbalance to young Shirley's fiery, improvisational style, creating a dynamic blend that captivated congregations. Their sisterly bond on stage was more than musical. It was a testament to their shared devotion and upbringing in a household where faith and music were inseparable. Though Shirley would eventually rise to solo fame, her early years with Ann were crucial in developing the electrifying performance style that became her trademark. The Caesar Singers toured locally, honing their craft in small churches and gospel programs, where Shirley's powerhouse voice first began turning heads. Ann, while less flashy than her younger sister, was the grounding force, her rich contralto and intuitive musicality allowing Shirley's virtuosic gifts to shine even brighter. Together, they embodied the communal spirit of gospel music, where individual talent served the greater message. As Shirley's career skyrocketed with the Caravans and later as a solo artist, Ann continued to influence her behind the scenes. The lessons from their years singing together, the call and response energy, the emotional authenticity, the ability to read an audience, remained central to Shirley's ministry and music. While Ann chose a less public path, eventually focusing on family and church work, her early contributions were never forgotten. Shirley often credited her sister with helping cultivate the confidence and spiritual depth that made her performances so transformative. 7. Inez Andrews and Albertina Walker, cousins by marriage. The golden age of gospel music thrived on deep personal connections, and few relationships exemplified this more powerfully than that of Inez Andrews and Albertina Walker. Though linked through marriage rather than blood, their bond shaped the sound of mid-century gospel. Albertina, as the formidable founder of the Caravans, recognized Inez's extraordinary vocal gift, that soaring 5-octave range that could shake the rafters of any church, and brought her into the legendary group. What began as a family connection became one of gospel's most fruitful artistic partnerships, with Inez's volcanic voice becoming a signature element of the Caravan's success. Their collaboration transcended typical group dynamics. Inez's earth-shaking performance of Mary Don't You Weep with the Caravans didn't just showcase her unmatched vocal power. It demonstrated Albertina's keen eye for talent and her willingness to let other stars shine. This mutual respect defined their relationship. Albertina provided the platform, while Inez's voice became the group's spiritual lightning rod. Offstage, their family ties created an unshakable foundation of trust in an industry where many groups fractured under pressure. They understood gospel music wasn't just about individual glory, but about lifting each other up in ministry. Both women carried their shared musical values into solo careers that never strayed far from their roots. Albertina, the queen of gospel, became a mentor to generations of singers, while Inez's voice remained one of the most distinctive instruments in sacred music. Yet they frequently reunited, their performances together radiating the comfort and chemistry that only comes from decades of shared history. Whether singing on Chicago's gospel programs or at major concerts, their connection always felt like more than professional. It was familial, spiritual, and deeply personal. 8. Albertina Walker and Dorothy Norwood, adoptive sisters. In the close-knit world of gospel music, family wasn't always defined by blood. Sometimes it was forged through shared microphones and ministry. Such was the case with Albertina Walker, the indomitable queen of gospel, and Dorothy Norwood, who would become known as the world's greatest gospel storyteller. When Albertina welcomed Dorothy into the Caravans in the late 1950s, she didn't just gain a new vocalist, she gained a sister. Their bond, built on mutual respect and spiritual kinship, would become one of the most enduring relationships in gospel history. Albertina's maternal leadership of the Caravans created an environment where talents like Dorothy could flourish. Recognizing Dorothy's gift for narrative-driven songs and dynamic stage presence, Albertina nurtured her protege with the Caravan older sibling. Their back-and-forth banter during performances, Albertina's regal poise playing off Dorothy's fiery delivery, became legendary among gospel fans. Off-stage, their connection deepened through shared struggles and triumphs, from grueling tour schedules to groundbreaking recordings that would define the golden era of gospel. When Dorothy eventually launched her solo career, she carried with her the lessons learned under Albertina's wing. Their sisterly bond remained unbroken, with frequent collaborations and public displays of mutual admiration. Dorothy often credited Albertina for teaching her how to command a stage, while Albertina proudly celebrated Dorothy's success as if it were her own. Their relationship embodied the essence of gospel's communal spirit, where mentorship and sisterhood blended seamlessly. 9. James Cleveland and Billy Preston, cousins. The sacred and the secular found common ground through the musical kinship of Reverend James Cleveland and Billy Preston. Though Reverend Cleveland, the pioneering king of gospel, and his younger cousin Billy would walk different paths, their roots in Los Angeles' thriving gospel scene remained their unshakable foundation. Before Billy became the fifth Beatle, or a chart-topping solo artist, he was a prodigy soaking up wisdom from his legendary cousin, whose innovative choir arrangements were reshaping gospel music. Their family connection created a unique musical bridge between the pulpit and the mainstream. Reverend Cleveland recognized Billy's extraordinary talent early, mentoring him in the language of gospel music even as the young musician's skills began transcending traditional boundaries. Billy's keyboard virtuosity, infused with the soulful intensity learned from his cousin's choir direction, would later become his signature sound. Their collaborations in Los Angeles churches during the 1950s and early 1960s represented a passing of the torch, from gospel's traditional roots to its evolving influence on popular music. While James Cleveland devoted his life to preserving and expanding gospel's sacred traditions, Billy Preston would carry those spiritual underpinnings into rock and soul. The contrast in their careers highlighted their shared musical DNA. Where Reverend Cleveland's massive choir productions like Peace Be Still defined gospel's golden age, Billy's work with the Beatles and his funky hits like Nothing from Nothing brought gospel's emotional authenticity to global audiences. Yet whenever their paths crossed, whether in recording studios or at gospel benefits, their mutual respect and family bond remained evident. Billy never forgot the musical foundation his cousin provided, and Reverend Cleveland took pride in his protege's success, seeing it as an extension of their shared heritage. Andre Crouch and Sandra Crouch, siblings. Andre Crouch and his twin sister Sandra didn't just share a birthday, they shared a musical revolution. As children of a Pentecostal pastor, they grew up immersed in the raw energy of church music, but their vision stretched far beyond tradition. Together, they formed the Disciples in the 1960s, creating a seismic shift in gospel by weaving funk rhythms, jazz harmonies, and contemporary production into their ministry. Andre's genius for composition met Sandra's groundbreaking percussion work and rich contralto vocals, forging a sound that was as innovative as it was anointed. While Andre became the face of their movement, his compositions like The Blood Will Never Lose Its Power. Rewriting gospel's vocabulary, Sandra was the heartbeat. As one of the first prominent female percussionists in gospel, she shattered expectations with every drum fill, her playing as precise as it was powerful. Their sibling synergy was palpable on stage. When Sandra took lead vocals on songs like Jesus Is the Answer, her commanding presence proved she was far more than just Andre's sister. The Disciples became less of a backing group and more of a musical partnership that redefined what gospel could be. Their influence extended beyond recordings into mentorship, nurturing future legends in their Los Angeles church. Andre's production work for Michael Jackson and Madonna carried their gospel-rooted sensibilities into pop, while Sandra eventually took over their father's church, becoming one of the first women to pastor a major Pentecostal congregation. Through every evolution, their bond remained central. When Andre received his Hollywood Walk of Fame star in 2004, it was Sandra who stood proudly beside him, their shared journey coming full circle. 12. Walter Hawkins and Tramaine Hawkins, ex-spouses. Walter Hawkins and Tramaine Hawkins created gospel history both as musical partners and as husband and wife during their marriage in the 1970s. Their collaboration birthed some of contemporary gospel's most enduring moments. Walter's composition, Changed, elevated by Tramaine's volcanic vocals, became an anthem of spiritual transformation. Their creative union at Oakland's Love Center Church blended Walter's compositional brilliance with Tramaine's once-in-a-generation voice, resulting in albums that redefined what gospel could express emotionally and theologically. Though their marriage ended, their musical and spiritual bond endured. Tramaine's subsequent global stardom, from her work with Edwin Hawkins to her disco gospel hit Fall Down, never erased the foundation built with Walter. They continued appearing on each other's projects, their professional respect transcending personal changes. When Walter produced Tramaine's 1985 live album, The Joy That Floods My Soul, their artistic chemistry remained undeniable, proof that some connections outlast romantic chapters. 13. Dottie Peoples and Dorothy Norwood, cousins. Dottie Peoples and Dorothy Norwood, two queens of gospel, carried their shared Georgia roots like a badge of honor throughout their illustrious careers. Though distant cousins, their connection ran deep through the red clay soil of Southern gospel tradition. Dottie with her signature anthem, On Time God, and Dorothy, hailed as the world's greatest gospel storyteller, often found themselves on the same festival stages, their powerhouse voices representing different but equally compelling branches of the gospel tree. Their mutual respect was evident in every shared microphone and every knowing glance across crowded green rooms. While Dorothy cut her teeth with the caravans during gospel's golden age, Dottie forged her own path with the People's Chorale, blending traditional sanctified fervor with contemporary flair. Their kinship manifested not through direct collaborations, but through parallel dedication to preserving gospel's truth-telling power. Dorothy's narrative-driven classics like The Denied Mother and Dottie's congregational bangers like He's an On-Time God became two sides of the same coin, one telling stories of struggle, the other declaring divine faithfulness. 14. BeBe and CeCe Winans, siblings. BeBe and CeCe Winans emerged from Detroit's legendary Winans family, a gospel dynasty that included their brothers, the Winans Quartet, to become crossover pioneers in their own right. With BeBe's velvety baritone and CeCe's crystalline soprano wrapping around each other like twin flames, the siblings created a sound that felt both heavenly and accessible. Their 1987 breakthrough, Lost Without You, didn't just top gospel charts, it spilled into R&B playlists and living rooms worldwide, proving faith-filled music could resonate far beyond church walls without diluting its message. Their synergy was instinctive, forged through childhood harmonies in their parents' living room and polished at their brother Marvin's church. Where traditional gospel groups often favored rawness, BeBe and CeCe brought sleek, contemporary production, courtesy of collaborators like Keith Thomas, that made spiritual longing palpable to secular audiences. Tracks like Addictive Love and I'll Take You There blended Sunday morning conviction with Saturday night sophistication, their vocal interplay reflecting a bond only siblings could achieve. CeCe's emotive runs danced around BeBe's steady phrasing like leaves on the same blessed tree. Even as CeCe ascended to solo stardom and BeBe expanded into production and television, their musical reunion performances crackled with the same electricity that first captivated audiences. Their 2009 Still album proved the magic remained untouched by time, their voices having matured like fine wine while losing none of their spiritual potency. Through every Grammy, Stellar Award, and Platinum plaque, they carried the DNA of Detroit's gospel legacy, where the sacred and soulful were never meant to be separated. 15. Marvin Winans and Ronald Winans, brothers. Marvin and Ronald Winans stood at the heart of the Winans, the quartet that transformed gospel music with their seamless fusion of R&B sophistication and unwavering ministry. As part of Detroit's first family of gospel, the brothers, along with siblings Carvin and Michael, crafted a sound that resonated far beyond the church, earning crossover acclaim while never compromising their message. Ronald's rich, anchoring bass vocals provided the foundation for Marvin's soaring tenor, creating a blend that felt both celestial and deeply human. Their harmonies on classics like Ain't No Need to Worry, featuring Anita Baker, and The Question Is, redefined what gospel could sound like in the modern era. Ronald's unexpected passing in 2005 at just 48 years old silenced one of gospel's most distinctive voices, leaving a void in the Winans family and the genre at large. A musical innovator, he had expanded his artistry beyond the quartet, recording solo projects and collaborating across genres while maintaining his gospel roots. Marvin, already respected as a preacher and vocalist, carried their shared legacy forward. His sermons infused with the same musicality that defined their recordings, his leadership of perfecting church in Detroit becoming an extension of the Winans ministry through music. The brothers' influence lives on in every gospel artist who dares to bridge the sacred and the soulful. Where traditional quartets leaned into raw power, the Winans, guided by Marvin and Ronald's vision, brought polished artistry without sacrificing anointing. Their recordings remain masterclasses in balance, the tension between Marvin's emotive leads and Ronald's steady low end, between Sunday morning testimony and Saturday night groove. 16. Vickie Winans and Marvin Winans, ex-spouses. Vickie Winans and Marvin Winans, two powerhouses of gospel, created both music and ministry during their marriage, leaving an indelible mark on the genre. Vickie, with her electrifying vocals and flamboyant stage presence, blended seamlessly with Marvin's smooth preacherly delivery, particularly on their 1995 duet. It's All Right, a song that became an anthem of perseverance. Their union was more than marital. It was a merging of Detroit's premier gospel dynasty, Marvin's Winans family, and Vickie's own rising star, creating a dynamic force in sacred music. Though their marriage ended, their artistic contributions endured. Vickie's solo career skyrocketed with hits like We Shall Behold Him, while Marvin continued his work with the Winans and his pastoral leadership. Yet traces of their collaboration remained. The way Vickie's improvisational runs echoed Marvin's melodic preaching, or how Marvin's productions carried the same musical sophistication that Vickie embodied in her performances. Their shared years had sharpened each other's gifts, and even after parting ways, they moved through the gospel world as respected peers, bound by history if no longer by vows. Vickie's later candidness about their divorce and her personal struggles added depth to her ministry, while Marvin's continued influence as a preacher-musician kept him central to gospel's evolution. Rarely appearing together post-divorce, they nonetheless upheld a mutual respect, a testament to their shared belief that gospel music, at its core, is about redemption. Their story, with its highs and heartbreaks, mirrors the very messages they sang, that trials may come, but the music and the mission goes on. 17. Mary Mary, Erica Campbell and Tina Campbell. Sisters, Erica and Tina Campbell of Mary Mary's shattered gospel conventions with their groundbreaking blend of hip-hop swagger, R&B grooves, and unapologetic faith. Raised in Inglewood, California's Pentecostal church culture, the sisters transformed their choir-trained harmonies into something revolutionary. 2000's Shackles, praise him, wasn't just a hit, it was a cultural reset. With Tina's raspy fervor and Erica's soaring clarity, they turned Sunday morning praise into Friday night club anthems without diluting the message. Their music videos flashed across MTV, their lyrics quoting scripture over beats that made sanctified and secular heads not alike. Their synergy was sibling alchemy. Tina's bold improvisational ad-libs playing against Erica's disciplined melodic control, a balance forged through shared childhood bedrooms and church microphones. Even as their 2000 solo ventures showcased individual strengths, Erica's Grammy-winning Help album, Tina's vulnerable It's Personal, their reunion performances prove some magic only exists together. Tracks like God in Me and Survive became generational mantras, their lyrics tackling real-world struggles while keeping salvation at the center. Beyond music, Mary Mary's legacy lies in their fearlessness, wearing jeans on gospel stages, discussing marital struggles in reality TV confessionals, and redefining what ministry could look like. They made holiness relatable, meeting listeners where they lived, in neighborhoods, heartbreaks, and triumphs. Through breakups, health crises, and industry shifts, Erica and Tina remained bonded not just as sisters, but as pioneers who taught gospel to breathe in the modern air, and made sure it still sounded like heaven. 18. Kirk Franklin and David Pop. Winans, distant cousins. Kirk Franklin, the maverick who dragged gospel into the hip-hop era, and David Pop Winans, the patriarch of Detroit's first family of gospel, share more than just musical genius. They're connected by bloodline. Though separated by generations and geography, Kirk's Fort Worth roots contrasting with Pop's Detroit dynasty, their distant kinship ties two monumental chapters of gospel history together. Pop's traditional quartet foundations with the Winans family subtly echo in Kirk's groundbreaking urban choir productions, proving that innovation often grows from deep roots. Kirk's rebellious, beat-driven approach to gospel, heard in anthems like Stomp and Melodies from Heaven, might seem worlds apart from Pop Winans' classic harmonies. Yet both share a core mission, making faith music resonate beyond pews. Where Pop nurtured his children, the Winans, BeBe and CeCe, to bridge gospel and R&B, Kirk's collaborations with secular artists like Bono and Chance the Rapper expanded gospel's cultural reach. Their shared DNA surfaces in this fearless crossover spirit, the understanding that salvation sounds different on different streets. When Kirk pays homage to gospel's elders, there's always a wink of family recognition. His 2019 Long Live Love album, with its throwback choir energy, nods to the Winans' influence even as it pushes forward. Meanwhile, the Winans' continued reverence for traditional forms, heard in Marvin Winans' preaching or Ronald's timeless bass lines, complements Kirk's sonic experiments like interlocking puzzle pieces. This cousin connection symbolizes gospel's living tapestry. Fort Worth bounce meeting Detroit Polish, old school sanctification, shaking hands with new school celebration. Through their shared lineage, Kirk Franklin and Pop Winans remind us that every gospel revolution begins with a family tree.
19. Clara Ward and Gertrude Ward, mother-daughter. Gertrude Ward, a formidable musical matriarch, laid the foundation for one of gospel's most influential groups when she formed the Ward Singers in 1931. But it was her daughter Clara, with her volcanic voice and flamboyant stage presence, who would catapult the ensemble to national fame. Under Gertrude's exacting direction, young Clara honed a vocal style that blended raw Pentecostal fire with theatrical flair, transforming traditional hymns into electrifying performances. Their Philadelphia home became a laboratory for gospel innovation, where Gertrude's business acumen and Clara's artistic daring birthed a new standard for professional sacred music. Clara's rise redefined gospel stardom. Her 1940s to 50s hits like Surely God is Able, delivered in sequined gowns with the Ward Singers' precision harmonies, broke barriers for black women in sacred music. Yet Gertrude remained the backbone, managing tours, negotiating contracts, and ensuring their ministry stayed grounded even as they played Vegas lounges and European concert halls. Their mother-daughter dynamic was both creative fuel and occasional tension. Clara's glamorous persona pushed boundaries, while Gertrude insisted the message remain central. The Ward's legacy lives in every gospel diva who commands a stage today. Gertrude's vision of gospel as both spiritual and professional enterprise, combined with Clara's genre-bending artistry, paved the way for generations. When Clara's health declined in later years, Gertrude's steadfast care mirrored their lifelong symbiosis, the same partnership that had nurtured gospel's golden age. Their story remains a testament to how mothers and daughters can together shape a musical revolution, one sanctified chord at a time. 20. Mattie Moss Clark and the Clark Sisters, mother-daughters. Dr. Mattie Moss Clark, a gospel pioneer in her own right, sculpted her daughters, Jackie, Twinkie, Dorinda, and Karen, into one of the most influential groups in sacred music history. As a renowned choir director and vocal arranger, Mattie didn't just raise daughters, she crafted a legacy. Her rigorous training sessions in their Detroit home transformed the Clark sisters into a vocal powerhouse. Their intricate harmonies on songs like Is My Living in Vain and You Brought the Sunshine, setting a new standard for gospel excellence. Under Mattie's exacting direction, each daughter's gift flourished. Twinkie's genius for composition, Karen's raspy fervor, Dorinda's soaring leads, and Jackie's anchoring presence. Their mother's signature three-part harmony technique, with its cascading runs and emotional depth, became the group's trademark. Yet Mattie's greatest lesson was that musical precision must serve spiritual purpose. Even as their 1980s hits crossed over to R&B charts, the Clark sisters' roots remained firmly planted in the church. When Dr. Mattie Moss Clark passed in 1994, her daughters carried forward her mission, Twinkie's production work, Karen's Grammy-winning solo career, and their periodic reunions all radiating her teachings. Today, their mother's influence echoes whenever gospel choirs stack harmonies or when a bold vocal run walks the line between sacred and sublime. The Clark sisters didn't just inherit a tradition, they became it. Proof that some of gospel's most revolutionary sounds grow from a mother's love and a piano bench's discipline.